have about 10 minutes to make a video. So I don't like fighting, and I was fighting the fighting for a very long time. And I was driving, I remember exactly where it was. Years ago, I was driving and I realized that I can't stop people from fighting. It was quite the epiphany to be driving along and realize I cannot do anything to make people stop fighting except show them what it looks like. The only thing I can do is to live my best life, my highest vibration, and then just let people choose that if they want. I started calling it the soul party. If you imagine all these people are fighting. So what happened was, it was interesting. I had this dream where I was playing with a dollhouse, and I took the lid off. And instead of being dolls inside, it was real human beings, real people. And they were all unhappy. All of them were unhappy. And then I could see there was some that, so most of them were all unhappy. They were just kind of milling around, just miserable. And then I could see some of them get this like puzzled look on their face, like almost like they're thinking, well, no, not almost, like they were thinking, there has to be a better way. There's got to be better. There's got to be a better way. And they got this confused look, and they looked up and they saw me. And the ones that saw me, I reached into the dollhouse and I picked them up by the heads and I pulled them out of this, existence of total unhappiness, and then no idea how to make it better, and just like kind of accepting that, okay, life sucks. And so the ones that were like, wait a second, and when they look up, I grab them by the head and I pull them out. And these were my people. So this was a dream. And then very shortly after, I had another dream where I was in like a field, and there were all these people were, I was near a fight. I was watching all these people fight, and I was like, oh, why are you doing that? Oh, it was exhausting me to look at this fight. It was exhausting me to watch people fight. And I got this puzzled look on my face, just like the people in my dollhouse, except it was me. And I looked to my left, and there was a group of people that were smiling and happy and running away. Running and happy and just free, just so free. And there was like a 28-year-old guy who I don't know, who's looking, and there were people ahead of him saying, come on, come on, come on. He's like, hold on, I think she's getting it. So he's running but looking back at me, and then I like get this puzzled look, and I look and I see him, and he's like, yeah, you son, come on with us. And I was like, motioning like, but what about them? He's like, no, you come on, you just come. They don't know, like kind of like leave, like they don't know yet, they just don't know. Come on, just come with us, come on. And I realized through that, I started going towards him, and I started looking back. So he like got me, and now I'm looking back to see who's looking to get out of that miserable existence, out of that fight. So it's all the same thing. What I'm saying is, you can't stop people from fighting. They're going to fight whatever they're going to, you have to respect whatever they choose. So I've lived what I call a shamanic lifestyle, where I allow God, the universe, prime creator, to give me information through my life. So everything's happening for me, not to me. So I used to joke, because I lost my airline job, and I lost my mother, and I lost my house, and I lost my car, I lost my love of my life, all these things. And so I was like if Jesus take the wheel type thing. I was like, you know what? Just kill me. You obviously hate me. And then I was like, well, my life lives itself better when I don't get involved. So I stopped getting involved in my own life. So I started just letting it do its own thing. Okay, fast forward. Then I had this epiphany. It's like, I can't help anybody. I can't do anything for anybody. I can't make them stop fighting. I just have to show people what it looks like not to fight. So I had one of my clients say, well, you probably don't keep up with like the news or whatever. You're not into politics, or you don't know. And I said, well, I know what's going on. I just don't fight about it. So, in 1991, I was a flight attendant for IBM. I was a college student, but I was a flight attendant for IBM. I flew all over the country. So I saw a lot of the country. And then I left and I went to Holland. I lived in Maastricht, the Netherlands, for the Economic Community, EC Summit meetings. Now it's the EU, but it was the EC, Economic Community. And we had to take this class on that. And I was drinking beer in the class thinking, why would England get involved in this? This sounds like a mess. Even, what was it, 21. Just turned 21 at the time. I was like, this makes no sense. But I never thought of myself as a smart person. But anyway, I decided when I was 21 that I wanted to run for president. And I had, 37, I think, is the youngest. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go do some stuff. I'm going to go all over. I'm going to see as much as I can, do as much as I can, and then I'm going to be president. And the first day that I tried, that I put myself out there, I'm going to say all the things that I've done, all the bad things I've done. Anything that would be dirt on me, I'm just going to say it. Then I started flight school to be a pilot in 1993, the end of 93. And in 94, I found out something that changed me forever. So this is before the internet. I found out information. Somebody was telling me. And I was like, that can't be true. That can't be true. Everybody would know that. Everybody would know that. And this guy is like, it's true. And I've heard angels my whole life since I was a little kid. I've been intuitive and I've heard angels and they're like, it's true. And it was in that moment when I found out, and the same thing applies. My dad used to watch the news and he thought he was getting all different news sources. So he would say, no, I watch them. So I went to him, a few months ago, and I just listed 7 people that had just died that were not on the news. 7, this is before the Epstein thing. So 7 people that have died that were not covered on the news. That are very, very, very significant deaths, not covered by any news source. And so finally I got my dad to see. So when I found that's about, I knew like, okay, being president is not the way I'm going to change the world. So I just was a happy little pilot for a little while, lost my job, and then I started doing what I'm doing now. Just healing, doing healing work. I shouldn't say just, but I say just because it's easy. And I love it so much, and it's just amazing. I love teaching people. But so I didn't want to make videos. I had to start making videos. I speak because I had a thyroid thing, and to keep it healed, I just speak whenever I feel like I'm supposed to. So living shamanically, I had experiences with cockroaches recently. Multiple experiences, including one that was on me, which is very strange because I don't live in the South. And so I had to look it up. And it says you have to fight. It's time for you to fight. And anyone who knows me knows I do not like to fight. I fought the fighting, and then I realized, oh, I'm fighting the fighting, which is my energy in the fight. So I started Renegade Yogi. Bless, forgive, respect the free will choices of all who are fighting, and love them anyway. Don't love their behavior, but love them. And that felt really good, to be above the spectrum and not fight. So I've been hanging out there for a little while. I mean, people on the right accuse me of being on the left. People on the left accuse me of being on the right. But that's happening to everybody right now. or not everybody, that's happening to people. So I'm like, okay. And so I get this information, shamanic information, that you need to fight. Okay, so easy place, Twitter, go on Twitter. And I'm very sarcastic. I enjoy sarcasm, and Twitter is the place for sarcasm, because there's a lot of people that are just ridiculously funny. So Miley Cyrus and her husband are getting divorced, and this guy had written two narcissists getting divorced or something like this. That's weird, And I had just seen a footage where she was letting the fans totally grope her crotch area, and there's close-up footage, but the footage that I saw was from a little further back, so you could really see. And I don't have anything against Miley Cyrus. I've never been to one of her concerts and never will, but I appreciate her artistic and free-spirited nature. And I don't think it's terrible that they got married, and I don't think it's terrible that they got divorced. I think, they're living their lives, and they fell in love, and they had a great relationship, and they had a great wedding, and then, and now if they don't want to stay married, then they don't have to. And I don't have an opinion on. I don't think anything's wrong with what they're doing, because they have more money to get married and divorced, married, divorced, married, than most normal people. So they're fine. And I don't think there's anything wrong with anything that they've done at all, including the groping. She liked it. The fans liked it. I don't know. So anyway, I wrote, something about the fans groping her, and the footage, that is weird, And this person starts attacking me about Miley Cyrus. And for 2 days. So I'm like, okay, so I'm using my cockroach, shamanic cockroach meaning, going, okay, so I'll try and fight with this person. But I wasn't doing that very well. Oh, and then that ended, and then that ended kind of quickly. And then someone else just recently, there's a person on Twitter that was engaging me about conservatives. This person thinks all conservatives are like the townspeople in the movie Footloose that don't let the kids dance or listen to music at all. He thinks that that's who conservatives are. And I was like, dude, where have you been for the last 30 years, So I wasn't doing that fight very well at all, and I got tired of that. Quick, because the person kept trying to shove. I mean, he's just a complete normie, just absolute 100% complete normie, and I was like, I know exactly where your point of view. I know exactly where you're coming from, because I follow liberals and conservatives, and I know what's going on in their news worlds and what they believe, because that's what helps me put the whole picture together, the whole elephant and the blind man. So. And I have people in my family that are complete normies, so they've tried to fight me into their point of view. So this person was just no different than my relatives, than a handful of my relatives were trying to fight me into their point of view, and I was like, okay. So I wasn't doing the fighting very well. So then we're down near my mother-in-law, and I'm going to tell this story, and I want you to really have an open mind. And Ellen, I know you're going to understand, but. So I have a sister-in-law that died before I got married, but I did a healing on her, and she was a really neat person. She knew she was dying. She had a going away party for herself. I did it. I asked her if I could do a healing on her. She said yes. But she was in Montana and I was in Connecticut. So I said, so when I connected with her energies, astral travel, I said, I started doing the healing on her, and this was after she had the going away party for herself, and I said, you haven't decided, you haven't told, because I said, we can bring you back from this. She's like, no, I had a going away party for myself. I'm tired. I'm ready to go. And I said, you haven't made your decision yet. Like God, prime creator, the universe, you haven't actually committed to going. You haven't. She goes, yes, I have. And I said, no. She goes, I had a going away party for myself. I said, right, but you didn't specifically and consciously say, I want to go. I'm ready to pass. I want to go. You haven't given over. You haven't given that over yet. And she goes, yes, And she goes, oh, you're right, I haven't. And then her energy started to go away, and I was like, wait, we can bring you back. She's like, no, okay, thank you. And she's like, her energy just left the healing. And I was like, wait, come back. And then I woke up and I felt like I'd had a healing, and I was like, well, that's weird. I feel like I was healed. So, and the earth had swallowed her down to heal her. It was really cool, and she's a really cool person. So I want you to know how cool she is. I want you to know that I like her and that she and I were fine before I tell you this part. So I was not fighting well at all, like not at all. I was hanging out with my mother-in-law, just me and my mother-in-law yesterday, and she's showing me all these things. So I'm going around her house, and she's showing me all these things, and then I get in the car to come back to my family, and my sister-in-law who passed, I hear her voice. As soon as I sit down in the car by myself, and I hear my sister-in-law go, "You're a bitch." And I went, what? Like, what? Why? And so when she said, "You're a bitch," I was like, was I mean to my mother-in-law? I started going back over all the things I'd done, like since I got down here. Did I talk about her? Was I rude? What'd I do? And then she just, again, she goes, "You are a bitch." And I was like, I was totally back spiraling in my head, like going over, like second guessing myself and self-doubt. And all of a sudden it just hit me. And I said to her, "Wait a second, what are we doing? This isn't us. What are you doing? Like, what are you doing?" She's like, all right, you caught me. So she's now going to try and help me fight, or learn how to fight, or whatever I need to get out of this fighting lesson, whatever I'm supposed to get out of fighting, because I'm supposed to be better at fighting. I'm supposed to fight, and I'm really resisting it. I didn't even realize how much I'm resisting it until she started helping me. Okay, so she started helping me. That was yesterday. So today I was like opening to the lesson or whatever, and I could feel myself I say that I'm open to the lesson to fight, and then I close it down. I open. So I'm saying, so then I'm going to try and get this out. So she says, she's like, because she was a liberal, and she's like, liberal minds, they focus. So it's like they're intellectual, they think of themselves intellectually, and now she's nothing. Not nothing. Now she sees, like, she sees what it all is, but she's trying to help me fight like a liberal mind, like tenacious and intellectually, and stay with it, Carla. Focus your mind. And I'm trying to learn from her, but I'm also at the same time like, I don't understand why I need to fight. Why do I need to fight? And so she's trying to help me fight. And she's trying to help me understand. She's like, basically, you're not good at being a liberal, and you're not good at being a conservative either. Because conservatives, they stick to principles. They have hardcore principles. So I'm bad at both. When, I'm like, well, doesn't that make sense? Because I'm not either. And she's like, no, because you could be good at both. You could have the best of both worlds. So right now you're bad at both, but you could have the best of both since you can be in the middle. So you could focus your mind, and you could fight like a liberal. You could focus your mind and tenaciously, intellectually, impeccable with your word, get your points across, and get your feelings, known. Put your feelings out there, get your feelings known and understood. While being grounded like a conservative, while sticking to your principles of bless, forgive, respect, and love, like a conservative would. So she's trying to help me do both. So I'm getting that, I'm understanding. But then I still am like, but why? Why do I need to fight? And then I said, Jesus didn't fight. Because I'm a big fan of Jesus. I love Jesus. I don't know if you know that story, but so I love Jesus. Big fan. And I said, Jesus didn't fight. And she said, no, Jesus didn't. didn't like start fights, but he didn't walk away from fights. I said he turned the other cheek. She said, yeah, he stood there and turned the other cheek. He didn't run away. You're basically running away through resistance. Resisting fighting is like running away. I said, oh, okay, so I understand. So Jesus stood there and sort of took it and then turned the other cheek. But he stood there powerfully while other people were fighting on him. Okay, so other people were fighting him. He turned the other cheek, but he stayed there, so he was powerful. Okay, so I'm just working my stuff out with you. So I was in the ocean. I was just in the ocean. And the ocean to me is the most beautiful thing in the world. And it's beautiful and it's powerful. It was knocking me down right and left. And it's beautiful and it's powerful. And it's like, you could be beautiful and powerful too. And neutral. So beautiful, powerful, neutral. Like, focus your mind, get your points across. And stay grounded at the same time and stick to your principles. Okay? So, okay, got it. So then I'm walking off the beach and I'm like, but why, why do I need to fight? Like, why do I need to fight anyway? And then it turns out, so this one guy that was fighting me on Twitter, who's the normie, the big normie, he truly believes stuff. And he kept trying to hit me with it. And then finally, the only thing I could do, the last two things I did was I found articles that were the opposite. I'm making a video. Are they coming? Are they here?
Yeah, we're going to be here in 15 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to cook pasta, especially ready.
Yeah, but I can cook while they're here,
You got to
can't
shower and all
I'm
that.
not showering. I rinsed.
Well, I want to get these ready, so maybe they come.
Okay. Okay. I'll be right there. Okay, so I ended up posting opposing, points of view from different news sources than he was using. So it was the opposite. It like just threw it out there, not like, oh, I stand behind this and I'm gonna die on this hill. I don't care. I really don't care. And I know that's a problem for some people, thinking like I should care and I should pick a side, but I can't. I just can't. It's not right for me to pick a side. I have opinions on things, but I'm not gonna fight over any of it. So I have to fight in some way. I'm working on figuring that out. But I guess this person, after I finally posted enough stuff, he's left me alone now. Maybe he just didn't see that stuff, and maybe it was important that I showed it to him because maybe he didn't have access to it in his echo chamber. So I don't know. And then the other thing, last thing I want to share is, so I was saying, why do I need to fight anyway, And my father-in-law was a hero of mine. My husband's father was a hero of mine. He was so strong and solid. And they're like, he and my sister-in-law are like, he was a hero of yours because you looked up to him. So what about that? Do that. How he just was what he was. So, okay, so I'm still back to like, why? And then the answer was, because you might be somebody's hero. Like, what if you get to be somebody's hero? Like, he was your hero. What if you get to be somebody's hero? That's why you fight, because you may end up being somebody's hero. And I just thought that was so cool. So that's where I am now. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm doing. I love you all. I bless, forgive, respect the free will choices, and love you all. Apparently I have to go make food. I love you.